Battle through the heavens. Following Xiao Yan's loud laughter, that descended mightily from the sky, the wash-basin-sized three-colored fire lotus in his hand suddenly transformed into a fire glow that shot toward Feng Qing air in the sky. Space fluctuated intensely wherever the fire lotus passed. A dark black spatial line appeared to be just like ink being scattered over the empty sky wherever the fire lotus flew by. That endless darkness caused one to feel shocked. The fire lotus flew out, appearing to spur the energy of this entire place. Wild wind was stirred as the natural energy of the world also became violent. This unusual phenomenon caused a countless of people watching it to be stunned. Such frightening might was something that even those experts, who'd been in the Dou Zone class for many years, had difficulty triggering. She had always thought that Xiao Yan had relied on the help of external strength in order to perform his many shocking achievements. However, today, after the appearance of this frightening three-colored fire lotus, the perception of Xiao Yan in her heart was raised regardless of how unwilling she was at letting that happen. Otherwise, the one who would eventually suffer was likely herself. Feng Qing Air's pretty eyes stared at the three-colored fire lotus that cut through the air with its violent energy. A solemnness swiftly appeared on her pretty face. She waved her hand and the dark light, which had been sweeping through the air, flew back in a lightning-like manner. It once again entered the illusionary black phoenix behind her in front of the eyes of a countless number of people. Following the entrance of this strange, dark light, the enormous illusionary black phoenix suddenly became a lot more real. The frightening pressure that spread from it also swiftly became much more intense. Holy Icon Demon Phoenix Bell. Feng Qing Air's hand formed numerous dazzling seals with lightning-like speed before her small mouth suddenly emitted a cold cry. One could see that the enormous illusionary black phoenix behind her seemed to have revived when the cry sounded. A sharp phoenix cry was emitted to the sky. Dark black light suddenly surged and wrapped around Feng Qing Air's body. After wrapping Feng Qing Air's body within it, the powerful dark light also wiggled a little. A moment later, it formed a large black bell that was over 100 feet large. The enormous, dark black bell, that had suddenly appeared, naturally stirred numerous exclamations from the entire stadium. This enormous bell gave one a kind of frightening aura of being indestructible when looking at it from a distance. One could just imagine how shocking the toughness of this thing was. It was likely that even the full-force attack by some elite Dou Zongs would not be able to do anything to it. Demon Phoenix Bell. The eyes of the four great Dou Zuns in the VIP seats coagulated as they stared at the enormous black bell. A solemnness appeared on their faces. Among the things that had the qualification to be considered powerful, the reputation of this thing was quite great. Unfortunately, this holy icon demon phoenix bell can only be used by someone with the bloodline of the heaven demon phoenix. Huang Quan Zunja's eyes revealed some heat before he regretfully sighed. There were few things that could attract them after they had reached such a level. However, this holy icon demon phoenix bell could be considered one of those things. If they were to use this demon phoenix bell with their strength, it was likely that they could rely on their own strength to fight against two elite Dou Zuns of a similar strength. Huang Quan Zunja, you should not lose yourself by being dazzled. Try to avoid touching the things of the heaven demon phoenix tribe. Those fellows will not even allow others to stumble upon a corpse of those from their tribe, much less a treasured Dou technique. Lei Zunja faintly laughed as he chastised. Huang Quan Zunja's face changed upon hearing this. He immediately laughed, I was merely joking. This venerable self, Dou Zun, is not that foolish. The heaven demon phoenix tribe's position in the magical beast world was similar to the Pill Tower and the Hall of Souls in the Central Plains region. They were a kind of superior and detached existence. Their strength was naturally frightening. Although the Yellow Spring Pavilion was also quite strong, it was still much weaker when compared to such a faction. Although the demon phoenix bell is strong, a little superficial part of it will not be able to achieve anything. Feng Zunzhe glanced at that enormous demon phoenix bell as he faintly laughed. With the eyesight of Lei Zunzhe's group, they were naturally aware that this collision would likely determine the victor of this fight. However, from the looks of the current situation, they could not determine just who would emerge victorious. The dark black bell had just been formed when the fire glow, made from the fire lotus, cut through the air and arrived. The size of the fire lotus could only be described as tiny when compared with the bell's enormous size. It might be tiny in size, but the frightening energy contained within it was something that no one dared to underestimate. In front of a countless number of gazes, the fire lotus was just like a tiny grain of sand that violently collided with the enormous bell in a decisive manner. Clang! The bell chime had just sounded when a low, deep noise followed. At that instant, the wash basin-sized three-colored fire lotus suddenly exploded. This explosion did not cause a loud sound. However, the three-colored fire wave that suddenly surged forth was like a 100,000-foot-tall tsunami in the ocean. It rose in a surprising manner. The entire sky instantly turned into a fire world. The temperature swiftly rose. Some of the places in the distant Wind Lightning Mountain range had begun to burn because of the high temperature. Waves of smoke rose into the sky. The Lightning Mountain turned into complete chaos the instant the three-colored fire lotus exploded. Countless numbers of people on Lightning Mountain were drenched in perspiration. Even Dou Qi could not completely isolate this kind of temperature. Everyone was stunned as they stared at the endless three-colored fire sea in the sky. In an instant, their hearts trembled. If this sea of fire were to shift a little lower, it was likely that this lightning mountain would be completely destroyed by it. The expressions of the four great Dou Zuns in the VIP seats underwent various changes at this moment. They never expected Xiao Yan to use such a frightening Dou technique. Such destructive strength was something that even an expert 6-star Dou Zong had difficulty achieving. Now, however, it had appeared in the hands of a 1-star Dou Zong. With their eyesight, they were naturally able to tell that Xiao Yan had completely relied on his own strength to use the attack. Thus, he had not relied on any external strength, yet it was precisely this reason that caused their hearts to shake even more. This person is really dangerous. Fei Tian inhaled a deep breath of air. His expression also gradually turned solemn. Xiao Yan's weight in his heart also swiftly climbed. Many gazes looked at the sea of fire in the sky with stunned expressions. An enormous bell stood firmly in the middle of the sea of fire. However, the dark black light on its surface had also formed numerous energy ripples as it was around by the three-colored fire wave. Crack! However, just as Lei Zunzhe sighed in relief, a clear, soft sound suddenly broke through the quiet sky. This sound might be faint, but it did not escape Lei Zunzhe's ears. Immediately, he tightened his hand and slowly raised his head. His eyes locked onto the enormous, dark black bell, and were able to see numerous tiny cracks slowly spreading across it. The tiny crack lines on the enormous bell were inconspicuous when compared to its enormous size. However, with the strength of Lei Zunzhe and the others, they were naturally able to see them. Their faces immediately changed. From the looks of it, Feng Qing'er's demon phoenix bell was unable to block the attack of the frightening fire lotus. Lei Zunzhe's expression had turned gloomy at this moment. His fist was slowly clenched. This scene was something that he had never expected from the start. He could not be more clear on Feng Qing'er's strength, yet regardless of how unbelievable it was, the truth was right in front of him. Jian Zunzhe and Huangquan Zunzhe by the side were similarly startled. Clearly, Xiao Yan exceeded their expectations by breaking the demon phoenix bell. I wonder what the background of this fellow is. He actually knows such a powerful Dou technique. Moreover, such talent is also quite frightening. The two of them revealed an expression of thoughtfulness. Regardless of how talented one was, in order for one to achieve this at such an age, one would require a teacher who had similarly great abilities. Moreover, there were not many old fellows who could teach such a disciple even in the Central Plains, yet it seemed that none of them had a disciple called Xiao Yan. On the edge of the arena, Mu Qingwan, Tang Ying, and the pale-faced Wang Chen were somewhat shocked as they watched the endless sea of fire in the sky, especially Wang Chen. He had basically felt his limbs become numb. If Xiao Yan had used such a frightening Dou technique when exchanging blows with him earlier, it was likely that he would not even have the opportunity to escape alive. Even Feng Qing Air's demon phoenix bell is unable to block that fire lotus. This Xiao Yan is really too terrifying. Tang Ying involuntarily inhaled a deep breath. He slowly spoke as his gaze stared intently at the sky. His voice had a little bitterness to it. By being able to become the most outstanding person among the younger generation in the 10,000 Sword Pavilion, Tang Ying's heart naturally held some pride, yet this pride appeared just like a joke in front of Xiao Yan and Feng Qing Air. The fighting strength that the two had displayed had far exceeded him. Wang Chen grit his teeth when he heard the sighs in the words of those two. Although he was unwilling to accept it, that unwillingness could only be suppressed in his heart in the face of the sea of fire that permeated the sky. An enormous, dark black bell stood in the three-colored sea of fire that permeated the sky. Each time the fire wave surged over, it would cause the dark light on the surface of the enormous bell to tremble. The tiny crack lines on it would also spread even faster. Crack. A slight noise was slowly emitted. In the end, they had begun to continuously sound. This kind of noise was not very loud, but it was gradually transmitted into everyone's ears. Hence, the entire stadium was silent. Countless numbers of eyes carried a little shock as they looked at the three-colored sea of fire in the sky. The victor of this battle was about to be determined at this moment. Xiao Yan was suspended in the air just below the sea of fire. At this moment, his face was a little pale. Although the strength of a Dou technique like the three-colored fire lotus was extremely terrifying, the exhaustion when one used it was also frightening. Xiao Yan swiftly tossed a couple of Dou Qi recovery medicinal pills into his mouth. He narrowed his eyes as he watched the large bell with its increasing number of crack lines. The Dou Qi within his body circulated quietly as it completely covered his body. Crack, crack. The crack lines swiftly spread. A moment later, they finally covered every corner of the large bell. At this moment, the three-colored sea of fire once again unleashed an extremely terrifying fire wave that violently collided with that enormous bell. Bang! The collision this time around was just like a mountain rock being shattered. A shockingly loud sound was emitted. Immediately, one could see the enormous bell violently shake. Dark light shot through the crack lines before the enormous bell was shattered with a bang. Dark fragments shot out in all directions at a shocking speed. Each fragment contained a frightening amount of energy. Although these fragments would be vaporized into nothingness by the high temperature of the sea of flames, the powerful wave that were created from the explosion had scattered the sea of fire. A dense, black smoke surged from the fragments of the enormous bell. Xiao Yan's eyes were focused on them. After staring at the black smoke without blinking for a moment, Xiao Yan noticed that the black smoke suddenly shrank. Immediately, a figure rushed out from within in a lightning-like manner. A chill surged in Xiao Yan's eyes the moment this figure appeared. A silver glow flickered under his feet as his body moved. A couple of afterimages appeared, and his body caught up with that figure in a ghost-like manner. A jade-green flame swiftly surged out of his fist. Qi. When Xiao Yan appeared behind that figure, a colorful cloth that contained a sharp wind suddenly shot at the middle of Xiao Yan's forehead. A cold smile was revealed on Xiao Yan's face. He grabbed the colorful cloth and used it to help him charge forward. Immediately, he violently struck the soft figure like a cannonball. Groan! Numerous exclamations sounded from around the stadium once they saw Feng Qing, who was injured on the ground. Xiao Yan seemed to have not heard all of this noise. His fist tightened under his sleeves without anyone noticing. Immediately, he let out a cold laugh. His body moved, descending in front of many shocked eyes. After which, he landed beside Feng Qing, raised his foot, and viciously stomped toward her head. From the looks of his stance, Feng Qing's head would likely burst apart like a watermelon if his foot were to accurately strike her. Xiao Yan's falling foot was extremely quick. He did not give anyone the chance to intervene. An instant later, it was viciously stomped on Feng Qing's head without any unexpected changes. The entire stadium was silent at this instant. Puff! The expected fresh blood splashing in all directions did not occur when the foot stomped on Feng Qing's head. Her head burst apart like a balloon while her body gradually turned into nothing. Many people present were at a loss when they witnessed this scene. Their eyes descended into a dull state. They were uncertain what had just happened. Xiao Yan's face did not reveal the slightest surprise when he failed to see any fresh blood. His eyes were slightly shut as his feet gently strode forward. In a flash, he appeared at a certain location in the air. The corner of his mouth was lifted into a cold smile as his fist violently smashed toward the empty space in front of him. Bang! A punch was thrown out. Just when this punch was about to strike empty air, a colorful figure appeared in a strange fashion. In her panic, she waved her hand, and it collided with Xiao Yan's fist. The powerful strength that erupted caused her to take over a dozen steps back. A trace of blood involuntarily seeped out of the corner of her mouth. Who do you intend to deceive with your entry-level 3000 lightning illusionary body? Xiao Yan raised his eyes and smiled to the pale, pretty face of Feng Qing. There was a little chillness in his smile. Feng Qing clenched her silver teeth. Her pretty eyes were furiously looking at the smiling Xiao Yan. Today was the first time that she had been defeated in such a humiliating fashion in all these years. Humiliation rose within her heart like a tide. A moment later, a viciousness flashed across Feng Qing's pretty eyes. She maneuvered the little remaining Dou Qi within her body. However, before she could unleash an attack, a thunderous roar suddenly resounded. Immediately, a figure appeared in front of her in a ghost-like fashion. An icy cold hand gently grabbed her long neck like an eagle claw while a soft voice that contained a killing intent slowly sounded. The voice caused Feng Qing's lovely body to suddenly stiffen. You have lost. The gazes of the entire stadium solidified on the large hand placed on Feng Qing's neck. Even the killing intent that had vaguely surfaced on Xiao Yan's face was caught by the eyes of quite a number of people. The entire Lightning Mountain became silent at this moment. Had the result of this much-anticipated top-level fight between the younger generation finally been determined? This final result had exceeded the expectations of most people. Feng Qing's reputation and strength was something that everyone was aware of, yet this talented lady of the Wind Lightning Pavilion, who only appeared once every century, was defeated in the hands of this young man called Xiao Yan. The location where the Wind Lightning Pavilion was located was completely silent. Fei Tian and the others looked at each other. Although their faces were ugly, they did not open their mouths to say anything. The strength that Xiao Yan had displayed had caused even them to withdraw the estimations they had made at him in the past. Compared to the gloomy-faced Lei Zunjie, Feng Zunjie's face was full of smiles. Xiao Yan's performance today had truly subdued his high expectations. That stubborn old fellow's eyes are still as sharp as ever. I wonder just where he obtained such an outstanding disciple. Feng Zunjie smiled and softly sighed in his heart. However, the faint fear had just risen within her heart when it was replaced by fury and humiliation. With her status and strength, when had she been treated in such a manner? Feng Qing'er clenched her teeth tightly as her pretty eyes stared at Xiao Yan angrily, appearing just like a haughty phoenix. A strange, black flame slowly seeped out of her body. A chill flashed across Xiao Yan's eyes when he saw Feng Qing'er was still being stubborn. The glazed lotus heart flame suddenly surged out from his hand as he cried out in a low voice, "Get lost." The jade-green flame swiftly rushed out and collided with the strange black flame on Feng Qing'er's body. Both parties engaged in an intense exchange, but the black flame hurriedly shrank back into her body while looking as though it had met with a great enemy in front of Feng Qing'er's shocked eyes. "Do you really think that I don't dare to kill you?" Xiao Yan's face turned cold and indifferent after having suppressed the black flame on Feng Qing'er's body. However, his expression changed abruptly before his words sounded. He saw the storage ring on his hand trembling suddenly as a jade bottle appeared without any forewarning. The green-red blood within the jade bottle emitted a majestic energy fluctuation. The sudden unexpected change caused many people to be stunned. Xiao Yan was the first to recover. With a wave of his hand, his jade-green flame wrapped around the jade bottle. After which, he stored it in his storage ring in a lightning-like manner. Xiao Yan's reaction was extremely quick. Many people did not even clearly see just what had happened. Even Lei Zunjie and the others in the VIP seats only sensed a powerful energy ripple appearing before it swiftly vanished. "Looks like I will need to find a time to settle this blood." This thought flashed through Xiao Yan's heart as he raised his eyes. However, he saw that Feng Qing'er's eyes were emitting an unusual heated glow at this moment. Xiao Yan's heart sank further when he saw this scene. He vaguely sensed that something was wrong. Feng Qing'er's pretty eyes stared at Xiao Yan's storage ring. Xiao Yan's reaction earlier was too quick. Hence, even she did not see just what that thing was. Although she did not clearly see it, she was able to clearly sense that the blood within her body had started boiling when that thing appeared. An extremely intense suction force surged within her heart. This kind of feeling, Feng Qing'er descended deep into thought. Her tongue gently licked her red lips. This scene was indeed filled with an endless amount of doubt. This deep thought continued for a moment before her lovely body abruptly trembled. Both of her eyes gradually revealed shock. Ancient Phoenix Essence blood. Feng Qing'er slowly raised her eyes and stared at Xiao Yan without blinking. There was some shock in her tone as she articulated each word with a pause between them. Ancient Phoenix Essence blood. Xiao Yan's heart jumped when he heard this. However, his face did not reveal any changes. His tone was calm when he asked, "What do you mean?" "Hand over that thing from earlier." Feng Qing'er's pretty eyes were searing hot as they stared at Xiao Yan. Her cold laugh was not hidden. Instead, it spread over the entire stadium. "You are really very bold. You dare to lay your hands on something that belongs to my heaven demon Phoenix tribe." The sudden change in the arena also caused quite a number of people, who were unaware of the situation, to become a little stunned. Numerous gazes swept around the stadium. Lei Zunjie and the rest in the VIP seats had also become stunned because of this. They stood up from their chairs, strode forward, and appeared in the arena. After glancing at the two of them, Lei Zunjie asked in a deep voice, "Qing'er, what's the matter?" Feng Qing'er's teeth bit her lower red lip. Her eyes still remained locked on Xiao Yan. A moment later, she coldly laughed, "Feng Zunjie, this is not something that Qing'er has randomly made up. The item that I sensed earlier is clearly my tribe's ancient phoenix essence blood. With your status, you should be aware of the rules of my heaven demon phoenix tribe. Any tribe member's corpse must not land in the hands of an outsider. This ancient phoenix essence blood must be refined from my tribe's demon phoenix bloodline. This act has broken a great taboo of my tribe. If this matter is spread to my tribe, the enforcement troop of my tribe will take action. Everyone was stunned when they heard this. All of their faces underwent their own changes. The smile on Feng Zunja's face diminished a little. The heaven demon phoenix tribe was not the wind lightning pavilion. The overbearing manner of those fellows was something that he had personally experienced back then. Lei Zunja and the rest did not speak at this moment. This matter implicated the heaven demon phoenix tribe. Hence, it was best to let Feng Zunja get a headache over it. Moreover, they were happy to see anything that could reduce the strength of the falling star pavilion. I am unaware of what you are talking about. It is merely a match. Winning and losing is a small matter. Miss Feng Qing need not accuse me of such a serious offense. Xiao Yan frowned while speaking with a somewhat cold voice. Are you saying that I have wronged you? Feng Qing's pretty face became slightly cold while she spoke. If you wish to condemn someone, you can always find the charges. Xiao Yan faintly replied. Do you dare allow me to search your storage ring? Feng Qing furiously laughed. She was definitely not mistaken about the feeling of her blood boiling earlier. Quite a number of people frowned in the face of Feng Qing's words. Searching someone else's storage ring was not much different than searching someone's body. This request was a little overboard. Although the Falling Star Pavilion cannot compare with the Heaven Demon Phoenix tribe, it is not something that can be bullied by others as they wish. This venerable self, Dou Zun, has also met with some of the old fellows in the Heaven Demon Phoenix tribe. You wish to search someone else's storage ring with just your words alone. It is likely that no one will be able to simply endure this. Feng Zunja's expression sank as he spoke. Feng Zunja appeared startled when he heard this. He hesitated a little in his heart as he turned his head to Xiao Yan. He was also aware of some of the rules of the Heaven Demon Phoenix tribe. Feng Qing's request was reasonable. However, he was a little worried that Xiao Yan possessed whatever ancient phoenix essence blood with him as Feng Qing had claimed. At that time, it would likely alarm the Heaven Demon Phoenix tribe if it was really found. Things would become a little troublesome then. Xiao Yan also sensed Feng Zunja's eyes. His eyes flickered when he did so. This searching skill will only react to the ancient phoenix essence blood. What is there to be worried about if I have wronged you? Feng Qing coldly laughed when she saw that Xiao Yan had remained quiet. Xiao Yan glanced at her faintly. The glint in his eyes gradually disappeared. The corner of his mouth was lifted into a cold smile. He nodded unexpectedly and said, "All right, I shall allow you to use your searching skill."